the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Keys to the City. I'm your host, Trevor Keys, alongside the big brother, Ted Keys, for another fantastic weekend in the football world. But you can check out Keys to the City for live shows. Check us out at Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at Keys to the City, as well as streaming services at Spotify, iTunes, Apple, and Google, even Amazon too. So we're all over the place. So check us out at Keys to the City. Another fantastic and wild weekend in the football world. College football delivered. The NFL, as always, delivered a huge slate of games this weekend in the NFL. But Ted, we're thinking, we just had our college football Final Four predictions, or not predictions, it's official. We have our Final Four for the college football playoffs. So it got me thinking, I think we're down to the final six in the NFL right now. I think we're really starting to see the difference. This has been a wild season, each and every week. But when you really look at how this league is shaping up right now, and we're only a month left of the season. I know we're 19 days away from Christmas. I know everybody's excited that it's almost Christmas, but for us football fans, we actually get saddened because it's just one step closer to seeing the end of the Boys of Fall until next year. But like I said, it was the college football playoff. The Final Four is official. You get Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU. So it got me thinking of, I think the NFL, and as college football has, they have their final six. Well, it seems like in the NFL right now, Ted, we're at that stage right now. And especially with the weekend that just happened, where you had a huge slate of games, conference supremacy, division supremacy. You had interconference battles, all rivalries. I mean, for goodness sake, we just saw the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders have a tie football game. I mean, we haven't seen a Giant tie since 1997. By the way, that was also against the Washington Redskins at the time. So like I was saying, to me, there really comes down to just six contenders. I know there's some teams maybe outside the six, and the six contenders that I'm talking about right now: Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Buffalo Bills, and the San Francisco 49ers. I know that you got the Minnesota Vikings. I know you got the Miami Dolphins. But to me, ladies and gentlemen, it really comes down to those six currently in the NFL. So, Ted, when you look at this situation, how this league is shaping up and how it's going to be looking like moving forward, when you look at these six, I mean, is it that blatantly obvious and clear, pretty much, that one of these six contenders will be hosting the Lombardi Trophy come the end, or the beginning, I should say, of 2023?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I told you, like, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, Trev, I think we kind of know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. And you're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I think we know.
It's fascinating that it's 3-3, too.
Well,
you got three in each conference.
You can, and maybe because of the injury that happened this past weekend, maybe it's down to 5, 2 in the NFC and 3 in the AFC. Listen, I'm telling you, what's the matter?
I'm not ready to.
49ers, I get it.
Do it.
They can win in multiple ways, but at the end of the day, the quarterback still has to make a play. So we don't know yet of Brock Purdy. No one's got a game report on him. No one knows anything. But he stepped in, and he played a great game against Miami. 2 touchdowns, over 200 yards passing. I think he was like 27-35. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He has some athleticism. I remember him playing at Iowa State. Very good quarterback. 4-year starter, so you know he got a lot of reps, similar to the quarterback in Pickett that the Pittsburgh Steelers had, veteran quarterback, in the sense of he's not a young guy, right? He's not a guy that came out after 2 or 3 years. He's gotten a lot of reps and had a lot of game reps, but I don't know what to make of Brock Purdy yet for the San Francisco 49ers. Right now,
I don't think anybody can.
Well, exactly. But I told you weeks ago, watch out for the Cincinnati Bengals. Watch out for Joe Burrow. Watch out for this team when they get healthy. Again, they won this week against the Kansas City Chiefs with a hurt Joe Mixon. And Jamar Chase coming off an injury. It wasn't, at 100%.
He looked pretty good hurdling the defender. He looked pretty good. It didn't look that bad. I guess his hip is all good.
But I mean, you look at the separation. I'm sorry, but Minnesota is the worst 10-2 team I've seen. They're not that good. Their point differential is +10. Actually, Seattle is +14, and they're 7-5.
And most importantly, they have Kirk Cousins as their quarterback.
Yeah.
So
So
anytime
I
you
don't
have
take
Kirk Cousins,
Minnesota.
I'm sorry, Minnesota. I'm sorry. Just sorry.
I don't take them seriously at all. Well, I think if you watched the game last night, I think everything explained what the NFC is all about last night. One whole bad conference. Saints are garbage. The Tampa Bay, listen, it's a nice story. Great win at the end of the game. Should never won that game. Saints should have capitalized, won that game, but they didn't because they're the Saints and they have a bad coach and they have no quarterback and a bunch of other things, but we're not going to get into that. But Tampa Bay, you could see they're not good enough. They don't have the offensive line. They can't run the ball enough. Brady has to get the ball out. I just look at a team like the Eagles, the Dallas, San Francisco. They would beat Tampa Bay. Neutral field, and Tampa Bay, at home, doesn't matter. The AFC, it's a 3-team race, bro. I think you and me are both in agreement. I love the Miami story. I just don't have the trust yet in Tua yet. He's not better than Joe Burrow. He's not better than Josh Allen. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes. The Titans, they don't have a passing game. We saw how good they are. It's a nice story. It's like the Giants. Nice story, good running back, tough, hard-nosed team, good, well-coached team. They just don't have the talent to compete against the upper echelon teams. Baltimore, we just saw breaking news. Lamar's out for 1 to 3 weeks with a PCL sprain, Trev? Was it? That's what it was. So we can't take Baltimore serious, and they don't have the weapons. Like, you take Kansas City serious, we take Buffalo, Cincinnati. I think people need to better start recognizing because that's a very dangerous team. And they showed it again.
Yeah.
And then the AFC and the NFC, listen, man, as much as I don't want to say it, you don't want to say it, Dallas is for real, man. And their only competition right now is themselves.
Oh,
I think if they don't beat themselves, they could come out of the NFC. I know that's a lot. I know that's
I'm gonna pause
tough to say as a Giant fan, but
I'm not going there. I'm not going there yet.
Here's the other thing: when the Eagles Cowboys play, I guess that'll be a good test for me and everyone else to see if the Cowboys are for
a good
real.
test. That will be the test because there really isn't like the NFC. Like
but is that a bigger test for Dallas or is that a bigger test for Philly? Because Philly played against Cooper Rush and Philly also has not had.
Philly is better than Dallas. I don't understand this narrative that the Dallas Cowboys are the best team in the NFC. I am sorry. It was look. I get it. I get that they scored 54 points and 33 in the fourth quarter alone. I get that. But if you just watch the stats, I should not even say that, screw the stats. Watch the highlights. The Colts literally imploded. They turned the ball over left and right, over and over. It's just, here you go, short field, Dallas. And that offense is good enough with a short field. They're going to take advantage of it. It's like the Thanksgiving game against the Giants when they went for it on that 4th and 1. You give Dallas a short field, they're going to take advantage of it. And they're going to exploit your defense. And they did that. So good for them. I'm not going to run over here and be like, oh, Dallas is the best team in the NFC. They're the best team in the NFL. I'm not running there. I'm not going to that point. It's just not the way that it should be. And they don't play well against the upper echelon of the league. And this is what Dallas fans and all Dallas every year. Here we go again. Oh, Dallas is going to go to the Super Bowl. How many times have we heard this? For years now. Like, yes, there is a possibility.
25 years, bro.
Like, there's a real possibility. I get it that the Dallas Cowboys could be playing in the Super Bowl this year. But we're all of a sudden just knocking the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, the Eagles are just.
Well, here's the other thing. They're going to have two components possibly, all right? You're going to have OBJ probably going to be signing with them within the week. So, he's going to be just a bonus to have, all right? It's a Sunday with the whipped cream and cherry on top. He's not going to go in there and be the player he was for the Rams, not yet this season. But he's there to make 2 or 3 plays in the playoffs or take coverage away from CeeDee Lamb. So that's what he's going to be there for. The other thing is they're going to get their left tackle back, Tyron Smith. That might be the best and biggest move that the Dallas Cowboys are going to get when they.
I'm sorry, but I just
talked about this before. When he gets hurt, that team is different. When they get their star Hall of Fame left tackle back, that offensive line should be much better. But I like the Eagles. I would listen if these two teams are playing. I'm rooting for the Eagles over Dallas, and then but. I'm not a Giant fan. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and be like and crown their ass as the top of the NFC because they're not. I think it comes down to those two teams in the NFC, though.
I get that, but I'm not taking away from the 49ers. Like Brock Purdy, I get it. He's an unsung hero, Mr. Irrelevant. I understand that, and that's great. And he's got the opportunity, and he delivered against, well, to some, one of the better teams in the AFC, a team that everybody was fell in love with this year because their offense is amazing and their defense has been playing well. Brock Purdy played pretty well. But guess what? He's also a scout team player, so he has to go against this defense. And Ted, you know how it is when we as, well, great defenses, when you go against the scout team players, I mean, realistically, it's like going against the JV players. So this guy has gone against this defense
Best
for
defense.
13 weeks. He's gone against Fred Warner. He's gone against
See, and
Bosa.
here's the
He's
thing, if you
gone
watch
against
this show
Armstead. He's gone
consistently-
against it over and over. So he knows what to expect. And what better way to learn?
Here's the
And
thing.
get the, hold on. But what better way to
The
learn?
49ers last week were the best team in football. And I
Okay,
said,
but what
at least
better?
the best
No,
team in the NFC. I just wonder, is it a one-hit wonder? Like, I need to see another week of Brock
yeah,
Purdy
but
before
what better
I
way
can
to
jump back on
learn?
the boat, because the Jimmy G injury to me was significant enough where I take them out of the front runner to win the NFC. I had them go. Listen, beginning of the season, I had 49ers going to the Super Bowl. Right? The Trey Lance injury he got hurt. I understood that. I also said Jimmy G would probably be playing by the end of the season as the starting quarterback. He came back and he did the job, and you could feel like that team was gelling behind Jimmy G. All right. And I said on the show last week, and I posted on the reels and thing, that the 49ers were the best team in the NFL. And I know a couple people are like, are you out of your mind, crazy? But I looked at that team and I'm like, that defense is stellar. That's dominant. They cause havoc. They shut down Miami, who was averaging almost 30 points a game the past 5 weeks. All right. They can run the football. Christian McCaffrey's a beast. George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Kyle Shanahan, that offensive mind. They have all the pieces to be a Super Bowl champion. But now with Jimmy G out, I don't know if Brock Purdy is good enough, because what I have seen is Dak Prescott, at least in the last couple of weeks, take a step forward. And Jalen Hurts right now, other than Patrick Mahomes, is the MVP of this league. And he looks like he is on a mission. I don't know. But the AFC, though, is a whole different picture. All right. The NFC, I mean, we can argue this back and forth. The AFC, though, I mean, you pick your poison. I mean, you going with Joe Cool? You going with Patrick Mahomes, or you're going to go with Josh Allen? Right now, Bills have the number 1 seed. Of course, that's going to be an advantage. But I'll tell you one thing. I think I still would take Cincinnati and Joe Burrow against the Bills, because that's the respect that I have gained watching Joe Burrow from his junior year, where I was like, okay, this guy stinks, to his senior where he just went off. And they're like, oh, well, maybe he was just good because he had 2 number 1 receivers. And then you watch him in the pros, bro, and it's like, he literally has transformed that organization, that team, that mindset. We looked at the Bengals like we look at the Browns. He has tremendously changed the mindset there. And for them to beat the Chiefs three times in a row has to speak volume about this team, because that's not the Bengal way. That's not what the Bengals do. And Joe Cool has done it. And he said it after the game. It's December. This is where it's put up and shut up, and this is where you make your money. And he's the showstopper.
I'm not like with the NFC. I'm still, the Eagles are the team to beat right now, but I'm still riding with the 49ers. I'm still going to ride with them because that defense is dominant. They have the playmakers. They got the coaching staff. They got the offensive line.
But is the quarterback good enough?
Played pretty good on Sunday. And
Now,
I think he continues
they have till 4 o'clock today to sign Baker Mayfield if he clears waivers.
They're not going to sign Baker Mayfield, so let's stop talking about the Baker Mayfield situation.
Why not?
I don't.
Josh Johnson cannot be your backup.
It's fine. You have a team that believes in the guy. If you have a team that buys into him and believes in him, then you have a team that can go a far way. You have a team that, as long as you believe in your guy and you can ride with that guy, then he's going to try to
What
take
if he
places.
gets hurt?
Then he gets hurt and they
Josh
figure it
Johnson?
out. I don't know, Ted. I can't answer that question if he gets hurt. I don't know
You're
what the answer
telling me
is.
that not having Baker Mayfield on that team, God forbid. I mean, he was the number 1 pick. I get it. He stinks. He has not been as good as.
Why do you want to? Why do you want to change the chemistry?
I'm not changing the chemistry. He's gonna fit right in. He'll get sit down right off that bait. He's not coming in to cause any dysfunction.
He's not gonna go. He's not gonna be signed by.
I think
Brock Purdy's gonna be the quarterback.
I think he should sign him.
Dallas, I'm not riding with Dallas. So I just looked at all these 6 teams and I wrote down a few things. With the Chiefs, you got Mahomes and you got Andy Reid. So anytime you have those 2, you have a shot. Their defense, though, is a big question mark. I don't know if their defense is good enough to stop either the Bengals or the Bills. We just saw it on Sunday. So we'll see. We'll see how that works. Don't know if that's good enough for them to do it. The Cowboys defense is nasty. I don't trust Dak or Mike McCarthy. I just don't. I'm sorry. Dak Prescott. I mean,
you may not have to trust
Matt Ryan was the better. Matt Ryan was the better
defense.
Matt Ryan was the better quarterback before that implosion in the fourth quarter. The Bills, you got Josh Allen, you got the defense, but the injuries. Once they get a healthy team, the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the NFL when they're completely healthy.
What about the lack of running game?
They're just not. The Eagles, I don't see a big weakness with the Eagles. The one weakness coming into this entire season is a guy that's probably going to maybe win the MVP. They don't have really a weakness. And if we want to say their rush defense, well, they just shut down Derrick Henry and shut them up. So that narrative is quiet for now. And now they're going to have another test against a Giant team that likes to run the football. So we'll see how that goes. But this Eagle team, I don't see a weakness.
What about
really
the Bengals?
I'm going through everything. The Bengals, you got Burrow, you got the offense. Do the people trust the defense enough? The defense has been playing great recently, but can they continue to ride? As long as you got Joe Burrow, you got that offense, you can win in that game. You can win any type of game. But is it the defense? In the 49ers, you got the dominant defense, but no Jimmy G. How much is that going to impact this team moving forward? So you look at all 6 of those teams. Those are really, to me, the contenders, the true contenders. I know we have contenders, pretenders, but then I'm going to just go with contenders. And these are the contenders of the contenders, the best of the contenders in this NFL season.
Yeah, because no one else is good enough. Listen,
the only team you maybe would consider is the Miami Dolphins, but I was not impressed with the way they played on Sunday.
And listen, they couldn't do anything against a third-string quarterback who was Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, and Tua did not look good. And that's my biggest thing that I've been talking about. And he has another huge opportunity on a national stage this weekend against his fellow counterpart, Justin Herbert, that he's always going to get. I mean, Joe Burrow has separated himself right now from Herbert and Tua. It's really who's going to be the second and third of that class right now. This is going to be the debate for the time until they retire. Herbert, Tua. Well, you're going to get it on Sunday Night Football. Chargers in a dire need of a huge win, a must-win game. Looks like the season could be on the line for the Chargers again. And Brandon Staley, his job could be on the line too, which is, I mean, Brandon Staley should be fired. He should have already been fired last year. And then you get Tua. You get another opportunity to showcase your talent, and you're going to be home, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Miami Dolphins win and everybody's going to say, oh, there we go. They're back. No, I'm not buying it. Go into Buffalo then next week and go beat the Buffalo Bills. You want me to buy into the Miami Dolphins? I'm sorry, Mom. I love you. But if you want to be a contender to me, go into Buffalo and go beat your arch rival. The team that has been the team of the AFC East and one of the top teams in this AFC. So go do that. And the Minnesota Vikings, anytime you have Kirk Cousins, I know they're 10-2. I get it. They got the weapons. Justin Jefferson is a stud. Dalvin Cook is starting to play well. The defense is playing its part. But I'm not taking a team I ever will trust when you have the name Kirk Cousins as the quarterback. I'm sorry, Viking fans. You might win 13 games this year. Still not even going to come close to buying you. To me, you'll be the 4th best team in the NFC. It doesn't even matter what your record will be. So that's why I say these are the 6 top teams right now.
I think as much as I can't stand watching them and they look like crap last night, I'd probably take Tampa over Minnesota.
I mean, that could be up for well, obviously you take Brady, but that's up for that would be a different conversation because of the sense that they are in that same type of tier to me, and it's crazy to say because one team's 6-6 and the other team is 10-2.
But that's
just how we feel.
Right there explains where our thought process is with Minnesota. We don't take them seriously. Listen, the Giants,
to me, the Eagles, Cowboys, and the 49ers are the top of the NFC right now.
Yeah, and then it's everyone else.
Yeah, and then you get your other tier. You get Minnesota and the Buccaneers as their second tier, and then you get the Seattle Commanders and Giants, and even I'll put the Lions because they're starting to play well. And the Lions, hey, there's still 4 weeks. There's still 5 games left.
Who they go on Minnesota, right? They got Minnesota.
They have a huge game this week. Biggest game. This is one of the biggest games in Detroit in the past. I really can't. It's been a while. It's been
probably 5 years when that Stafford.
I mean, you're in December football, and the Detroit Lions are making a possible run into the playoffs as the 7 or even 6 seed, we're saying. So they're not out of the question. I know they're 5-7, but the Detroit Lions are not in the question. Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, that defense, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, that offense specifically. I said at the beginning of the year, don't be surprised with the Detroit Lions. They got something moving. If they can get something going with that defense, the Detroit Lions are going to be I can't believe you're about to hear this, but the Detroit Lions will be a formidable foe moving forward in the NFC, the future of the NFC. So that's how it looks to me. You get the 3 teams in the AFC, you get the 3 teams in the NFC. I'm still sticking. I'm not changing my prediction. I still got the Niners and I still got the Bills. If the Bills get home field advantage, the Bills get healthy, they're the best team on paper. Josh Allen, that team, they're on a mission. I know they've had their little bumps in the road this season. I get it. But they're still 9-3. They're still the number one team in the AFC. And they still got Josh Allen. Anytime you got a guy like Joe Burrow, you got Patrick Mahomes, or you got Josh Allen, have a chance every Sunday. It's just that simple. That's why those are the three teams that are going to be either coming out of the AFC, and then you got it's crazy because you just look at the AFC, you got the three great offenses, three great quarterbacks, and then you get the three top teams in the NFC. What do they all have in common? I mean, the Eagles, let's be honest, the Eagles offense could be just as good as those other three in the AFC, but you look at those three teams, their defenses are legit.
Yeah,
it's the three quarterbacks that are the question marks. That's what it's going to come down to in the NFC. I think that's what
you don't question because you could say the three quarterbacks in the NFC are the three best quarterbacks, 1, 2, and 3. However you want to rank them, are the three best quarterbacks.
I mean, who's the best quarterback in the NFC right now?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. Who's second? Is it Dak? Is it Cousins? Is it even Tom Brady?
Geno?
I mean, is it Geno?
Might be Geno, bro.
Is it Taylor Heineke? Is it Taylor Heineke? Is it?
No,
I mean,
it's Geno.
I'm just saying, like, that's all I'm trying to say is that you look at
I would say it's Geno. I mean, here's the other thing. You can make the argument Jared Goff's the third best quarterback in that conference. He's had a really good season for Detroit.
That's crazy. Just think about that.
Not Kirk Cousins. Dak is right there. Dak should probably be 3.
That's all I'm going to say is that you look at how this AFC is shaping up. Realistically, it looks like the Bengals, Bills, and Chiefs are going to be one of the three representing the AFC. And then the NFC, to us, I think I can speak for both of us. Realistically, it's either going to be the 49ers or we could realistically have an NFC East, NFC Championship game this year. It is a real possibility in the NFC. Speaking of the NFC, would you believe the stakes that happened on Sunday? A huge Commanders-Giants game. Ended in a tie, ladies and gentlemen. If it doesn't get much more New York Giant football-like or Washington football-like, then if you just have to go watch the highlights of the Commanders and Giants game, and you'll understand why these two teams are kind of as similar as they come. Both have questions at their quarterbacks. Both have solid running games. The weapons, though, in Washington, you give the edge to. But then you both look at the defenses. Tough-minded defenses. Both got heart. And you got two coaches that are well-respected around the league. But let's talk about the New York Football Giants. One of the surprises of the NFL season early on, and we were talking about, well, they had just as good as a record as the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles at one point, 6-1. That's long gone. They are now 1-3-1 in the last 5 games. And I've been seeing a lot of people recently saying, oh, well, the Giants weren't supposed to be here. Look, shut up with the narrative of that. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. But that narrative is long gone. This isn't week 2. This isn't week 5. This isn't week 7. We're going into week 14 or about week 14. And the New York Giants are playing playoff football. They're playing in meaningful games. It's not about just getting by now. No, this is about getting to a playoff. They've put themselves in a situation this year to get to the playoffs. Starting off 6-1 now, I know that could be a credit to the schedule, but you've put yourselves in a position to get to the playoffs. So I'm sick of hearing the narrative of, oh, well, they should. We were so surprised they shouldn't even be here. They were supposed to win 4. I get it. I don't think any of us thought the Giants would be in this situation this year, but they are.
No.
So you have to worry about the now. You can't worry about the past. You can't worry about even the future right now. You have to worry about the now. And the New York Giants are in a situation where every game, just like Sunday, from here on out, is a playoff game because you are fighting for your playoff lives right now. And with the way the season started, Ted, to be started 6-1 and to now be 7-4-1 and right on the thick of things with realistically now, let's make it a 4-team race in that final 6 and 7 wild card spot. 4 teams, legitimate teams. The Commanders, the Giants, the Seahawks, and I'm going to put the Lions because the Lions win this week. They're 6 and 7. They're
Yeah.
right in the thick of things.
No,
So
I'm not.
and it just so happens that the New York Giants, yes, it wasn't pretty on Sunday. Let's just say it started off a little slow, picked it up, and then finished awful, so very, very poorly. It doesn't help that now this week you have the number one team and the best team currently in the NFL coming into your place
they
where
actually
it's do or die. It's do or die. So Ted, will Big Blue figure it out?
The Lions do have a favorable schedule. I'm looking at it. If they beat Minnesota this week, they'd be 6-7.
I think they're beating Minnesota. I think they're gonna beat Minnesota.
And of course, they're home now.
Yes, they're gonna beat Minnesota.
Now they're at the Jets.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough
one.
one.
They can win that.
But hey, listen, we'll see what
win.
happens. Who's quarterback? What goes on with the Jets? We'll see. They play, I believe, the Bills this
Mike
week.
White's going to be the answer. Mike White's not going. Mike White's going to be the guy for
then they're at the Panthers.
Winnable game.
Bears.
Very winnable game.
And the last game the last game of the season at the Packers, and we don't know who's
very
going to be
winnable
the quarterback. And do the Packers tank for the end of the season for draft capital?
Very winnable game.
I'd say 4 wins. They could get 4 wins.
4 of the last 5. They could get 10 wins.
wins.
So let's just say
wins.
it right now. I guess we'll say it. 10 is probably
you got to get
10.
You got to get to 9. You got to get to 9. 9 is this. I think someone gets in at 9.
Do you think the tie is going to screw either one of the
No, I think it helps
Giants or the Commander? You think the Giants or Commanders? It hurts?
No, I think it helps the Giants. A tie is better than a loss. Tie is better than a loss.
Yeah,
so
I get it.
You'd be 9-7-1, or 9-8. 9-7-1 gets you in over 9-8. So the Giants got to find 2 wins.
Will they figure it out?
Giants have to find 2 wins.
Especially knowing that, I mean, we'll talk more down the line.
We talked about this last night, and we talked about when we do off script stuff and we're trying to figure out what we want to talk about and whatnot. But here's the thing with the Giants. You got invited to the dance. So don't sit in the chair at the table and just whine that you don't have a date. Go find someone to dance with. Get involved. Be involved. You're there. It's not about, okay, well, they're not that good. They have this. I get it. We know that. The storyline's over, like you said. Oh, they weren't supposed to. Okay, you did, but now they're there. So win some effing games. Like, let's go. Like, you should have beat the Commanders. You had an opportunity. You blew it. I mean, Daniel Jones did not play poorly. Had completed over 80% of his passes. Had another 200 yards. All right. Ran the ball for 71 yards, 12 attempts, career high. Their defense did what they were supposed to. They just didn't do it on the last drive when they needed to shut down Washington. And then of course, Darius Slayton can't catch the ball at the end of the game. Typical Darius Slayton.
That's such a giant
one
play.
One out of every 4 passes he drops. He's like, I think this year it's at 11.9%. I think his average is like 15%. It's like the worst in NFL history. Like, bro, hot hands Heaton, like, stick him, do something.
He's like Richard Franklin
from the Replacements. If you don't know what we're talking about, like, catch the ball, bro. Like, you're brutal. Like, I wish. You're killing us, bro. You're killing us.
You know, I think what's killing
because he is a very good viable option for a number 2.
Let's be honest. You know what's killing us? You know what's killing us though, because it was the backbone of this team. They can't run the football, and with an offense that has a lack of has a lack of weapons and a lack of explosiveness in the passing game.
What do you have?
Their backbone.
What do you have? He had 63 yards on the ground.
Their bread and
That's
butter.
not good enough.
Take away the Texans game. Just take away the Texans game. Before this game, like I said, Saquon Barkley, the last 4 games, was 114 yards on the ground.
You think he's
this was a guy that was leading the league in rushing. Looked like he was on pace to be an MVP type candidate. This running attack for an offense that doesn't have the weapons, this is killing the Giants right now. Because everything revolved around the running game, which ultimately sets up the play action. I know the injuries kept piling up, but still, when you have that running attack, and it was a top 3 running attack at one point. At one point, it was the number 1 rushing attack in the NFL.
Yeah, the first 5.
It sets up. That's also when we had the play action. And Daniel Jones is great at the play action this year. He's been excellent.
But that's also when we had the same starting offensive line for the first 7 weeks.
Yes.
We haven't had the same offensive line.
It's killing the Giants.
All our receivers. Colin Johnson out before then. Sterling Shepard, Wan'Dale Robinson, Kenny Galladay might as well be hurt for the season because I don't even think he's in the building. That's another effing waste. Okay, that's absolutely nonsense. What a joke. I mean, typical Giants.
Typical effing Giants.
Sign a guy to the biggest receiver deal of the year. Yeah, we got the number one receiver free agent. Yeah, man, this guy's be a stud. I got more catches than him. All right.
Andrew Thomas has more touchdowns than him.
So, with that being said, what's wrong with the Giants? We said it. Can't run the football. Somehow we got to figure out how to run the football the last 5 weeks this season. But I mean, look at Daniel Jones, though. I wrote down these stats. 13 of his 31 passes this week were at or behind the line of scrimmage. 6 more were within 5 yards. So we don't throw the ball down the field, which you got to be able to throw the ball down the field. You got to be able to stretch the defense because then everyone's inside the box.
The Giants don't have that, though.
Darius Slayton can at least get down the field. Someone during the NFL draft, they're not slow. It's not me running a 4.7. They're running 4.4, 4.5. Somehow,
can you still run a 4.7?
Probably not 4.8. My knee hurts.
My knee hurts. So it's a 4. So it's a 4.8. He knocks it down.
Jones, but here's the other thing. Jones has only 18 attempts this year of 20-plus yards all season. That's 32nd among all quarterbacks in the NFL. We don't stretch the field. We don't have any downfield passing. We got no one. Yeah. This team is not that good, but I get it. We're still fighters. We're going to fight to the end. But you made a good thing. Do you think the Giants got conservative? Absolutely. Yeah. I just wonder if the conservative offense is because the lack of trust in Daniel Jones, which brings us back to the point where we started the season. Do the Giants and do the fans of the New York Giants have faith in Daniel Jones that he's the future? I still think he's not the future. He's not the future, bro. He's not good enough. He is a viable quarterback in the NFL. He is not your future. You will never win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones as your quarterback. Ever. The reason why I can say that is because I can look at a guy like Jalen Hurts. Now, you can give me all the excuses. They have one of the best offensive lines. They have a great play call. I like Brian Dable, too. They brought A.J. Brown. They have Devontae Smith. They got a 3-headed monster in a rushing attack.
Don't forget about their tight end.
Dallas Goedert. I get that. All that. They got weapons. But don't you just look at Jalen Hurts and look just in general at the improvement that this gentleman has made in 3 seasons? Where is the tremendous improvement that Daniel Jones has made? If the coaches have not coddled him all season, and if it wasn't for Saquon's rushing ability in the beginning of the season, where would Daniel Jones be? If we had a viable backup, he'd probably be benched.
I mean, I don't think Daniel Jones has deserved to.
He doesn't deserve to lose his job, but
maybe not to get he deserves to get some sort of contract from the Giants or from somebody because he has played his part.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
He has not been. If you had to put the Giants' faults for this downfall or just in general with this season, I wouldn't put Daniel Jones in the top 5 of that. I would not.
First of all, it would be the offensive weapons. That's
the weapons, the play calling, the injuries. I wouldn't put Daniel Jones.
I just think when the Giants had an opportunity, and I get it, it was 4th and 3 in the overtime, and you decided to punt with like 1:45 seconds left. Now, I get it. You got the ball back, and you still had an opportunity to kick the field goal.
I felt like almost Joe Judge was there.
But it was almost like you were playing not to lose and just say, hey, listen, we'll take the tie. We're happy with it. We just don't want to lose. We don't want to lose. We'll take the tie. And I said, I'm like, this is like kissing your sister. And someone's like, what's? I'm like, no, stop. Rather kiss my hand. Stop. Enough of that nonsense.
Why don't you explain to the people what do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
Kissing your sister. What do you mean kissing your sister?
Well, you know the old like symbolism of what like a tie. It's like kissing your sister. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I
don't know what the hell you were getting.
Maybe you kiss on the cheek goodbye, but I mean it's like whatever.
That's normal to kiss your sister on the cheek. I give my sister a big hug and kiss.
You're an emotional person. I'm a stiff, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, at least you could say that on live. Hey, we're live for that. I'm an emotional person. If you like emotional, I'm an emotional guy. What do you want me to say? I also don't get.
I got a solid heart.
Like I'll rock. I'm Marv.
But no, I look at this team and I'm like, listen, man, we're there. If I could sum it up, we're here though, right? We're here at the.
They put themselves in the position where they could win.
At least try to get to there and see what happens. All right, let's see what happens. Right now, they're in the playoffs. It would be so more disappointing. I'll tell you this. At this point where I'm at this season right now, I would be more disappointed in the Giants not making the playoffs than if the Giants were just bad all year. Because I kind of had the thought process of they were being. But now that you gave me hope, and they always say, what's the worst thing you give like someone who's, criminal or death, or like hope or something, and falls. Like you gave Giant fans hope. Like you were 6-1. Like we were like there's an 80% chance we're going to make the playoffs. So like we're at the point where like, are we going to win another game for the rest of the season? And then the narrative is going to be completely changed. Your thought process as a fan, as an organization going into the offseason goes, how the hell did we become 6-1 and then didn't even make the playoffs? Like, we'll go down in history. I bet there's never been a team
We
6-1.
started 7
I
and
bet there's
7 and
never
2.
been an NFL team that started the season 6-1 that's not made the playoffs.
I mean, we started 7 and 2.
Where's Hembo for ESPN? I guarantee he probably. I guarantee there's probably never been a team. I'd love to know that stat or figure that out. There's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're 7-2, even with the extra game now. Like, you can't make the playoffs. So that's my storyline. I get it, Daniel. And here's the other thing, Trev. They don't make the playoffs. All the questions that you and me had talked about all season are all going to come back out of loop. Do we resign Saquon? Should we trade him now? We can't trade him. Can't trade him. I mean, you could sign and trade him, but what do the Giants do with him? Is Daniel Jones the future? What do we do with?
So the past 19 years. So how about this? The 2003 Vikings team, along with the 2009 Denver Broncos, are the only teams that have started 6-0 and did not make the playoffs. So that's about the past 20 years or so.
All right. So, but you don't want to go down like that. I mean, because like I just said, the narrative around this team will completely change. Because at the beginning of the season, we re-signed Daniel Jones.
I don't think the narrative will change. I just think that it would be just like, okay, they had their moments, but they still have work to do. They still have the holes that we expected them when everybody thought, okay, 6-1. Maybe the Giants are better than we all thought. No, I think it was just maybe a little, we got ahead of ourselves. They have the potential to be great. They're going to have the cap space next year, but it's a team that still is a few missing pieces away from competing.
That's what it comes down to. And that's why people on Twitter and other stupid things, but we all like to have an opinion throw out there and maybe grab someone and gets a lot of likes and tweets, is should we go draft a quarterback again? If we don't make the playoffs, do we trade up to go? And people are like, well, we need weapons. Well, we're also going to have a good amount of salary cap, but what do we do with Saquon? Do we re-sign Leonard Williams? His third year is coming up. What do they do with Dexter Lawrence? Like, the Giants still.
Julian Love. There's guys that the Giants are going to have to try to resign, maybe long-term plans for them. I mean,
there's still a lot of parts that have to be mixed and blended for this team. And like I said, it's been great so far what we've established this year as a Giant culture and a Giant team and as a fan base. But you got to make the playoffs at least, bro. I don't care if you lose in the first round of playoffs. Get me there, man. Give me something to watch on the wild card weekend. Give me it. Like, get up and dance. If the girl rejects you, at least you tried. But don't sit there and complain and then say, "Oh, no one danced with me." You didn't put the effort in. Try. Give me an opportunity. You got Philly this week, which is going to be a really tough matchup, but who knows? We'll see what happens. You got Washington the following week, which is a must-win game. I mean, every game is a must-win game, but that Washington game is totally a must-win game. The Colts game is going to be a must-win game. And then I think, depending on how the season goes, that last game of the season against Philly, hopefully Philly has everything clinched and they sit everyone, and maybe we could sneak another win in. Maybe we can sneak it. And I don't know. I don't want to go in that way. But you know what? A win's a win, and get me in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, time will tell on this New York Giants season. It doesn't get any easier. It ain't going to get any easier from here on out. Every game is a playoff game. Seriously, it ain't going to be much better in here. Yes, the Giants are exceeding expectations, but that's over with. We're not thinking about the past. I'm not thinking about the future right now. I'm thinking about December 6th for the rest of the season until I don't even know when the season ends, January 9th or 10th. All I care about is that. That's what I care about, the now, because the New York Giants have put themselves in a position to at least make a playoff appearance.
January 8th.
So a month away. There is 4 weeks left, a month away. That's all I care about now. I don't care about the past. I don't care that they started 6-1 and they exceeded expectations. I don't care about the future and what's going to happen next offseason. I care about right now. We are 7-4-1, currently slated at the 6th spot. You're still in the playoffs. You have 4 weeks left. It's about the now. Get yourselves into the playoffs. You've made yourselves an opportunity. You've given yourselves an opportunity. So take the opportunity, grasp it, and move forward. All right, Giant fans? My God. Oh, well, we're happy to win. Shut up. That's what I got to say to you. Shut up. We'll see what happens. It ain't going to get much easier for this New York Giant team. We'll see what happens, though. It's been a fun season. We will see what happens. We will keep an eye as well. We will probably be back sooner than the end of the week because there is a looming update or possible signing that could change the landscape of the New York Yankees' future. And we will be bringing back the Joseph McGuire for it. He has not been on, but we will get him back to talk Aaron Judge and where he will either be going East Coast or West Coast bound. Time will tell. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next episode. Just check it out. Keys of the City, Spotify, streaming, iTunes, as well as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all of social media, as well as TikTok. Because everybody loves TikTok, I guess now. That's the new thing now. Ted loves TikTok. Right, Ted?
It's good.
That's good. It's good. It's good. See you next episode. We are Keys of the City. We are out.
You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.